Last time on Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice, a Delta Dawn adventure.
I took one advanced move, and that was Test Kitchen, which lets me basically anytime I think of like a neat thing that an ingredient can do, I can roll Test Kitchen. I can literally come up with whatever I want as far as like what the ingredient does. And as an example of that, I actually want to roll that power generating ingredient. There's like a huge chunk of this space station that doesn't have power and is basically there's been some sort of problem. I'd like a fungus solution.
You find a small bit of an article that says that they brought a life form onto the station and that they were studying it in the science bay. The explosion that occurred took out the science bay and most of the workers in there, and they had to seal the doors off. They simply haven't opened them since. And you're ushered over to the mission sort of control center that Teddy Rake controls. And he begins giving you the lowdown rather quickly. He says, there has been an SOS call from Vulcan 9. Big SOS. The message was cut off, but it sounded like there had been some form of explosion at the station. This is a huge piece of energy for our station. The 40% of the station that is out at any given point is powered by the magma from Vulcan 9. We are in dire need of a team to go out and respond. Cookie sees a shape crest the magma and slither sort of long ways in the magma and then go back down beneath. And it is large. It creates ripples next to it.
Let's get inside right now.
The young girl who has been conversing with your team says there is a sulfurous flower that grows atop the sort of highest plateaus of this cooled magma. The beasts, she says, tend to avoid these clearings.
I'm gonna try and stealth out to our ship.
There's a brief silence, and then a loud roar overtakes this station, and the walls shake. The magma begins to roil and bubble, and a huge purple worm crests through the magma and faces its mouth hole towards you, and then spits it forward, and a large ball of magma flies through the air right towards Slippy on the staircase.
And now we return to our adventure.
I think we're gonna just have to begin right at that spot where the frame is frozen. There is, like I said, about 25% of this station is still above the magma, but Slippy has tripped over a barrel, causing it to careen down the stairs, and a magma worm has breached the surface. The sheer force of it breaching the surface has caused the rest of this factory that hadn't sank fully to begin to like shake and sink a little bit more. Slippy, what do you do?
I'm gonna defy danger. I'm gonna just get out of the way of this thing that's flying at me here.
Yeah, I'd probably did dexterity, I would assume.
I rolled a 10 with my bonus.
Okay, so you defy danger. You tripped, you tripped and like sat there and watched as this barrel went down, and then heard the roar from under the magma. So you got up and like were looking around.
And this is the second time I've heard it, so I know exactly.
Yeah, you knew what it was. This thing spat a large ball of magma up from its gut and forward at you and at this whole steel staircase. Slippy, you jump. You kind of throw caution to the wind and you dive forward and into sort of a roll down the staircase.
And it's immaculate.
Yeah, I mean, you roll down the staircase. I think you get some bumps and bruises. Nothing, to get through the armor. But this magma collides with the staircase. And even though this whole plant is, like, treated, you see the stairs start to glisten and the like, arm rail going up the side begins to droop just a little bit.
Particularly hot. Got it.
The three of you inside, you've just heard this loud roar and a big crash sort of at the front door, and Slippy right after. Slippy is left. What do the three of you do? I think I'd like to start with Carl. You're the combat officer. What do you think about this situation?
I don't know. Why should I be in charge? I'm in charge of fighting things, and these things do not seem fightable.
Okay, yeah.
From a technical standpoint, I think we should run.
We have at least 2 ships docked nearby, open and ready to go, right?
Yes, they are open. You know that your ship is ready to go. You guys haven't gotten you haven't gone into their ship. You don't know its ready status. Has it been damaged? Is it okay? You don't quite know that yet. Seemingly 2 ships ready to go.
And we've met a group of scientists, right? Or a group of the
yeah,
people here?
you've got 3 factory workers in here, one of which you've been conversing with. She's a younger, I think I put her at 16. She's like a 16-year-old human. And she seems to be actually at least vocally in charge. She's the one talking to you guys about everything. The other 2 are standing back. They're very, very quiet. And then there are 2 Delta crew members like yourselves, theoretically members of this other ship, that are very injured. The human is unconscious and unresponsive. The robot is powered down and like missing a leg and an arm. It's like very damaged.
Okay. Have we assessed at all how many other people are alive to be rescued?
No.
Or is this it?
Seemingly this is it. I think that in your conversation, she may not have said it before, but she points out while you folks are planning this plan that there were a few more factory workers, but they died in the initial explosion and severing of the factory in the back.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like we should all just go to the ship. Straight to the ship.
We can hold everybody on the ship, right?
Sprint to the ship. Yeah, I mean, we can take 3 people with us on a ship, I imagine, if a bunch of us are flying on it.
But yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You guys have a whole storage bay. You could put a bunch of cargo in there too. But Cookie, BBW, what do you think about this situation? Loud crash, loud splash outside.
The crash sounds a lot like people that need to be entertained. I think I want to go there. I'm going there with the initial function of that, but I want to help Slippy.
Yeah, I mean, hearing a crash isn't good, so I would at least like to move to the doorway and see what is happening.
Oh yeah, I meant more an overall plan rather than an instantaneous.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we hear a crash. Fuck that. Let's run.
We're out.
So first, let's get Slippy then, or if he's good.
Let's try to save Slippy and watch him die. Otherwise, I guess.
If it's just these 3 left, and yeah, I mean, 3 people are not worth trying to save, and probably lose the base trying to save this, because we're not going to be able to hold it off for like 6 hours while I brew my oil.
Are you folks talking about this out loud?
What's happening to Slippy?
I am just beelining for the ship.
You're beelining for the ship. Are you beelining? So the other ship is closer. Do you want to bypass that ship and go to your ship?
Go to my ship.
Go to your ship.
Yeah, for sure. I know how to drive that one, hypothetically.
You are now at the base of the stairs, and you have a pretty flat, open plane in between you and the ship. I'll say it's like 30 yards probably to your ship, and another 30 yards to this first ship, and another 20 yards to the following ship. Slippy takes off in a sprint for this safety, this cover. And in no time, the magma worm is reacting with yet another ball of magma coming right at Slippy.
You to defy that danger again, me boy. 10 plus 2. 3, actually. 13.
Slippy, you dive forward and into another roll, just dodging the sort of splash zone of this ball of magma. You roll behind the hull of this first spaceship and notice that you take just a moment and don't hear anything.
Cool.
What do? Do you make another run for your ship?
If I don't hear anything, I'm just gonna not move.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you take a moment to not move and take a moment to listen. You 3 indoors, you're I imagine that the things you're saying, you're like whispering over each other. Because otherwise, how would your characters know these things?
Ooh.
And
When in doubt, run away.
the
I think we're all in on
the girl says that while yes, we must escape with our lives, ultimately we will be returning to this planet to do the work that we're here to do. And overall, I think that I don't know, distillation, you may have called it earlier, might prove rather beneficial to sort of our industry as a whole. This could go out further than just our sort of crew if
Yeah, it'll be
you're
great to drop that from space after we run the fuck away.
Yeah, I concur, actually. I think while I agree that long term the distillation will be the most effective worm repellent, I don't see why we can't get to the ship and fly to wherever it is that these flowers
We can
are. We can follow the
Come
map
back
from
and take care of the worms from a better position.
the command module or whatever it is. We can, yeah. Let's get to the ship, everyone.
you folks go to the front door. The team who is carrying the injured. There are an injured robot and an injured human that are powered down or unconscious.
I can probably carry the human or help carry the robot. I probably can't carry the robot on my own.
Yeah, I could help because I walk on all fours. So if I put myself
Whoa.
on someone's back, I could
I
probably.
didn't know this.
Huh?
This is how this. That's not how I imagined.
Oh,
You just got like are you like a spherical body and then 4 tube arms coming off of you? Is that what we're dealing with?
it's like there's like 3 separate parts. Like kind of a big head, a smaller torso, and a big like abdomen. It's like big,
Oh,
and then the legs come up through there, and then the arms come through the torso.
love that. All right. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Can you stand on your back legs and like use your hands for stuff?
Can
Briefly,
you
yes.
help with your
Yeah, okay.
tractor beam?
I imagine I wouldn't be able to like carry stuff like that though, but I can definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So BBW carries one and Kaaro carries the other? Is that? I think even BBW and Kaaro
yeah, if
could
you think that's possible.
carry the robot, and then the humans, the other human factory workers, could piggyback the human to
True.
give
That sounds good.
the crew the most of your stuff. You folks prep to get this crew in order, and Cookie cuts to the front door and peers it open. And Cookie, you notice the steel staircase outside beginning to melt and drip down to the cooled magma below.
Is the magma, like, is the staircase our only way back to the ship?
Yes.
How tall of a staircase is this? And how fast is it melting?
It is melting. As you're watching it, it is like dripping down in bits. It doesn't seem like it's melting from any one particular area, but you see it coated in this magma.
Quick scan of the room. Any carpets? Like a rug?
I'm trying to imagine why there would be a rug in here. I think pretty much everything is metal.
Imagine why there wouldn't be a rug.
Because it's hot.
Outside.
Yeah, inside it's only 97 degrees.
I'm thinking maybe like I could buy us a little time if I could throw a rug on these stairs, but otherwise, if there's no rug, then I'm just like, I'm gonna turn around and be like, the stairs are melting, we should hurry and get a move on. The stairs are melting, what do I do?
Mate with it.
You folks crew up to move down the stairs as fast as possible.
This sounds
Yeah.
good.
I think
Is
that
that
seems accurate.
All right. I want all 3 of you to give me Defy Danger. You can make it any of the physical stats that you choose. You know, that would be strength, by enduring, by powering through.
Fast.
or by acting fast. However,
I'm gonna run faster than
Ka'arl
magma.
and BBW -1 for carrying.
Encumbrance.
Yeah, for carrying a robot.
That is with the -1 and the +2, a 13.
With me, I have a 7.
Or 7 for Cookie, 7 for BBW, and a 13 for Ka'arl. Love a 13. 7 and 9, you stumble, hesitate, or flinch. Hard bargain or ugly choice. BBW, you are carrying this robot. I would assume probably like you're carrying the legs and Ka'arl's carrying the arms, and you folks are trying to go down this staircase. One of your legs, BBW, slips, like presses down onto the metal and pushes through like it's goopy, and your leg slips through. You have an option. You can either hold on to this robot body, causing Ka'arl to stumble as well, or let go of the robot body, leaving Ka'arl to support the full weight as Ka'arl would continue forward.
Yeah, I think we need to stumble just a little bit.
You stumble.
Otherwise, I think both of us may fall if I let you take the full weight.
Yeah. You
Probably. I only have 12 strength.
Yeah.
You stumble, and you feel a little bit of that magma drip down your leg and melt a little bit of the outer chassis on your leg. You take 3 damage, BBW, and that is through armor, just pure magma damage. And Ka'arl, this causes you to stumble a little bit. It requires the two of you to stop on this melting staircase to help pull BBW out of this hole and then reposition this body. So you folks are still up on the staircase as Cookie. You are a bit ahead of them. You don't have a lot of weight. You're trying to get down to the bottom of the staircase, maybe to wave some folks on. And I think your foot, much the same as BBW's, you feel it begin to gooey press through this staircase. You're a little bit closer to the bottom. You can either stop on the staircase and take some time to remove your foot, or you can take a tumble down the stairs and get down there much faster.
Tumble, I think, sort of a unplanned dexterity save.
A tuck and roll?
Mm-hmm.
You take a tumble down the steps because of this is sort of the result of your pre-defy danger, right? You hit the ground a little hard. You take 3 damage, but not ignore armor, and the breath is sort of knocked out of you. But you have made it to the bottom. You see at the top, you see BBW and Ka'arl sort of fighting to free BBW's leg, and the other humans are not actually too far behind you. They're stepping a little bit slower and making sure, after watching both you and BBW foot through, they're like testing some spots, and they're making pretty good progress, but a little bit slower. Slippy, you are back pressed to this ship. Your back is facing towards the lake in this factory, so you don't see all of this going down. What do you?
I'm gonna get on my walkie-talkie and I'm gonna say, "Oh no, wait, hold on. Actually, retcon. Slippy is going to get into the ship and he's going to use the viewport, the window, and see what's going on the other side of the ship."
Okay, yeah. Slippy sneaks up into this ship and up into the sort of bridge of this ship where it's a pretty traditional command center. It looks very, very close to the interior of your command center. In fact, there's a few less buttons, but overall it's very similar. You get a sense that overall the stock hasn't changed of your
Great.
So
it's easy for me to navigate. I'm
bridge.
right.
Yeah, it is easy for you to navigate. Slippy, give me a discern realities.
Absolutely. That is a 7.
7. Ask one question.
I think, what should I be on the lookout for?
You getting into
out.
this command center gives you a new view of the situation. You see, you don't see the magma worm when you look out. You see the factory. You see all of these folks making their way down the stairs. You see Cookie in kind of a heap at the bottom, having just landed. But while you don't see the magma worm, up and facing you as it was before, you see it crest the water or the magma and sort of slither underneath the area that is kind of in the magma, and that causes that area to like
nearby for sure.
drop down a little bit more. What you also notice is a blinking light in this bridge, and because this is so similar to your own ship, you know that that is just an old message that they have received at some point that has gone unanswered.
Okay.
The three of you at the bottom of this staircase, or on the staircase, I'll say that when we start this round, Kaarl and BBW are still near the top of the staircase, and Cookie is helping the humans reach, like come off the bottom of the stairs. Let's start with Kaarl and BBW then at the top of the stairs.
I'm gonna try to get. I guess I'm gonna set down the robot while I try to get BBW loose so that we can carry the robot the rest of the way down.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'm down for that.
I don't know how to word that in an action. I guess just defy danger.
Yeah, I think with the way that the last turn went,
I'm defending you from magma stairs.
I think that the way that the last turn went, it was requiring you to fix to sort of spin that turn pulling him out. So we could just start this turn at the defy danger of running down the stairs again, trying to get past all of this. And I think I will call this one specifically dexterity, because we are trying to get down now before the staircase melts.
That is a total of 6. I can only succeed so many times, y'all. I already finished this defy danger. Okay,
you did
it's
so well. Oh man. BBW.
12.
All right.
That's the bus line up there.
Okay. Here is what occurs. You folks begin moving down the stairs quicker than you were before, mostly knowing what you're looking out for. When you get about halfway, you get to a landing at the halfway mark, and Kaarl feels that sensation as if he's about to slide through, but rather than it being under one foot, the whole sort of area around Kaarl is dripping down now, along with Kaarl. BBW, with your total success and the speed at which you two were moving down the stairs, this is not hard for you to continue your motion and pull the robot onto your back as you stumble down the last few stairs, maybe even into a heap at the bottom, not being able to fully support this on your own, but getting you guys down the last few steps in a stumbly, safe manner. Kaarl, you just sort of drop like straight through and hit the ground as these drips of magma come down atop you for 6 total damage. It just like,
oh my god,
that's max damage. It sort of drips atop of you and down, and it goes through armor. It just melts like through your armor and onto your skin, and you feel it. You roll out of the immediate pool of magma, but you have some severe burns going probably all across your like main carapace. What do you call the body of an octopus? Is it a carapace?
I think carapace implies like a hard shell, and octopi are all soft.
Your body, then. Yes. Cookie, what do you do?
So they've made it to the bottom of the stairs, or they've fallen through?
Everyone has made it to the bottom, including Kaarl, but Kaarl fell quite a way and is underneath like the staircase that's kind of melting.
Okay, well, let's get Kaarl out of there. I think that's going to be my next thing, is I'm going to get in there and I'm going to pull Kaarl out. Did the robot fall through with Kaarl?
BBW was able to pull the weight upon himself and make it down the last few steps before dropping into a heap.
Understood. All right, then let's just pull Kaarl out and keep moving forward. We got to get to this ship or the worm's going to eat us.
I think that this, it's probably defy danger, strength or con. This staircase, Kaarl is underneath of it, and it is drip, drop, and melties down.
Well, good. That's
oh man.
Yeah, I gotta say.
A 6 as well. Carl, did you mark experience as well for your failure? I didn't mention that out loud. I apologize.
Did not.
But I
recall.
remembered because Gabe has also failed. So Cookie runs under the edge of this staircase. Carl is sort of in a heap, dealing with some of the sort of shock of this severe damage. And Cookie, I think what's going to occur is that Cookie is going to be able to pull Carl out at the end of this action. But as Cookie runs up to Carl, Cookie sees a large chunk of this molten staircase falling. And the only way that Cookie is able to sense of protecting Carl fast enough in this situation is to throw her own body atop Carl's to hopefully mitigate that damage. Cookie, you take 3 points of damage through armor as you are blasted in the back by this chunk of molten staircase. It really only like nicks your side, like your rib cage as it bounces off and rolls into a melting puddle on the ground. And with that, you're able to sort of pull Carl's body up, and the two of you limp out of the staircase as it begins to start splashing down in like large waterfall like chunks before it is ultimately just a extra little pool of molten lava dripping into the lake. Slippy, you see this happen. You see the staircase splash down, and your allies pulling each other out from underneath of it. You notice the shape of the worm swimming through the magma, and it seems to be swimming towards the nearest portion of magma that it can get to be near your allies who have just pulled themselves out of the situation. What do you do? And there's a message.
Slippy. Yeah, I know. That sounds like electronics to me.
One missed message.
Slippy, is there? I guess there's not really like a window I can roll down. I'm going to look and see if there is autopilot on this ship.
There is. It's the same sort of autopilot that you have installed on your ship. You input a coordinate, and it takes you where you're gonna go. You notice that really the only difference of this ship and your ship is that the speed gauge on this ship is lower. Your ship is faster, simply.
Okay, I'm gonna try and do a...
Oh, and better shielded, actually. You do notice the shield gauges here. You guys have 2 shield gauges, and this one only basically has 1.
I am gonna put the coordinate of like as far away, not off the planet and not out of the pool like area that we're in. Like we're in like a particular reservoir. Like I'm not gonna have it leave the reservoir. I just want it to go to the other side of it.
Okay.
And I want to do a defy danger to try and get out before it takes off after I input the digits.
Ew, I like that idea. Okay, that's cool. You input the coordinates. The coordinates aren't too far away. I think you pull up, you probably have some sort of like tech band on your wrist, or you pull up your like mission details and the coordinates you put in here, and you put in similar coordinates but enough to put it off a little bit. And the ship immediately registers that and begins to rumble and lift off of the ground. Slippy begins sprinting out and goes to roll down the back of the thing. Give me a defy danger, either strength or constitution.
Okay. So that is...
I guess you said you were trying to get out of here fast enough, so you can give me dexterity.
All right, I'll take my +2. So I've got a 9 with my +1.
A 9. Oh, with your +1 after your like racial ability.
Oh, I rolled a 6. I get +2 for dex. I get 1 for my alien race.
Stumble, hesitate, or flinch. Worse outcome, hard bargain, or ugly choice. Slippy, you get to the edge of this, and it is higher than you wanted it to be. The ship it's rumbling. You thought that maybe it was moving a little bit slower because it's rumbling so heavily, but it is actually maybe rising quicker than you expected. And as you make it to the edge of this loading dock, you notice that the drop is pretty far. So you can drop and take some damage from the fall, or you can stay on the ship and go with it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to jump off, and I'm going to do a flip. If I know I'm going to hurt myself, I'm going to do it in a cool way.
Do it in a cool way. Great. That will be 2 damage
I was like, phew, that sounded like a D4.
with armor, so probably none for Slippy. You're just like landing. You feel the shock go up your legs, but your armor is able to hold it in as you land that sick ass flip.
Guys, I did
And
it.
the ship takes off, and you folks see the ship go over the edge of the lake. Slippy, the first thing I think you notice is that magma creature whose back was cresting the magma is no longer cresting the magma. The squad, Cookie and Carl, you two have just basically pulled each other out of this melting staircase. And
Let's not do that again. And also, let's go.
This plan's a little dangerous.
Can we go somewhere water-based? I like that so much better.
been rock and magma, and those two
I
are
don't know
not
if I
what
like
Carl's
water,
good
though.
at.
Dry and hot, not my style.
Out of main danger, you folks hobble together into a pod and begin making your way across the space it takes to get to your open ship. I think that you folks get there just fine. The magmorm does not return, and you folks bring the injured and the unconscious up the back of your ship, aided by Slippy, and into the storage bay before, I assume, closing it behind you.
This one will close.
This one will close. So the storage bay closes behind you folks, and you folks are in the storage bay with the injured.
All right, gang. I already did a really cool thing, and so I'm not going to test my luck here. So now, let's go and do the plan of whatever you said. And I'll just give a big smile. It's weird because I'm a frog. Ribbit.
What do you folks do?
Oh, my whole plan was just to run.
Off planet in a way?
Yep.
No,
I'm
I meant the
politely-
cookie plan, Slippy says.
Oh, yeah,
plan with
develop
the
the thing.
repellent.
Now that we're off.
Yeah, exactly. Who wants to be lowered by a rope onto the plateau to get the plant?
Oh, I do like ropes.
No electrical field this time either.
BBW is
Hopefully.
experienced with being lowered down onto dangerous things.
Indeed.
And you know you can trust us to pull you back even if you pass out.
This is true.
Which I do.
As soon as you pass out, we do not just abandon you.
That's a fact. Is that you
All
guys want to fly over and lower BBW down to sort of collect what is needed for the distillation?
Yes.
Sure, if BBW is willing.
All right. All right.
Sound very confident.
You folks, I think Slippy's on it, and he's just taking care of this other ship. Slippy jumps into the pilot seat and takes the ship up over. The girl is pointing things out to Slippy as you're flying. She says, "We're looking for the tallest point of cooled magma that we can find." And you notice that a lot of this is very sprawling and flat. The levels of magma go up in like sheer areas, but they don't go up by too much. After a little bit of flying, it not too long, a couple minutes really of flying, because you're moving much faster than you would if you were walking. You have flown a few clicks south, I don't know, and you find a little plateau, and you see a small-ish field of black flowers waving in the wind. Your ship reads out, though, that the temperature on this plateau is quite a bit higher than it was on the lower portion of that cooled magma. BBW, you know that just means that, like, this could be dangerous to you while you're collecting these flowers.
Yeah.
We can cover you in water first. Does that help?
Covering the robe in water.
Robot.
Last time I covered it in water, I don't think it helped.
Okay.
Do you guys have a rope?
No.
Hold on. Let me check.
That's what I was hoping. I was hoping Slippy would check his bag for a rope.
Yeah, I do, and I still have more things in there.
Oh my god! All right, Slippy just starts pulling out a rope, Mary Poppins style, from his.
It's not wound. It's
Yeah.
just I'm pulling out. Yep, 100%.
Perfect. You tie that around BBW. You
Yeah,
folks.
As soon as we have enough out of the bag, I'm tying it around like as more's coming out. I just figured we can use that
Yeah.
as a winch.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. You folks hover above this field of sulfur flower, and BBW, begins lowering down. BBW, give me a Defy Danger Constitution on this one, because you are enduring the heat as you are picking enough flowers to be distilled.
Can we roll to assist him via holding the rope?
Yeah, Carl, I think you can. You were talking about tying stuff on. I think Cookie is probably setting up the distillation process in the kitchen, getting all of the necessary things boiling and beakers and shit set up. Slippy keeping the ship stationary. So Carl, you're aiding on the rope. Do you have any bonds with BBW?
Like completed bonds or current bonds?
So they would be current bonds. This bond that you had updated, is it updated to include BBW still?
I kind of changed it to something completely different. I thought that was the intent.
No, it can be. It's totally up to you when you change your bond. It can be a totally new thing, or if it makes sense, like for instance,
it's like a continuation in this case. Like since BBW is sentient, I'm now curious if Core is sentient.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, so that specifically is based off of BBW sentience, you know? So I think that you do still have this bond with BBW. If they aren't mentioned in the bond or they're not a part of it, like technically you don't have one with, you have one with all the members of your crew. So you have one with every member of your crew. If you were to try to aid an NPC, you wouldn't really, of course, get that unless it was Core.
Yeah.
So yes, you have one, you have +1 to your aid roll for BBW.
It's a 6, so they get a +1, but I expose myself to danger, retribution, or cost.
Yikes.
Rope burn.
Rope burn. So you are lowering BBW down, and I will take this hold on Carl as we do the story. BBW, you are lowered and you come to rest atop this plateau. You feel this heat blasting you. What did you get on that Defy Danger Constitution? I apologize.
4.
Oh.
Indeed.
Okay. BBW, you you land on this plateau and amongst the sulfur flowers, and you feel this dry wave of intense heat overtake your body, and it through the armor you take 4 damage just flat as this heat begins cooking the insides. You can feel it. You can feel stuff like I'd say that the moment that you begin to get worried, you feel like a pop inside, as like maybe a bolt has just like popped right out of its holding, and you begin collecting these flowers. While you're collecting these flowers, BBW, you begin filling up. I say you were given some sort of container to start storing them in, like a little popcorn tin or whatever, and you clear out a little patch, and you notice that one that you pull up has a thicker root system than the rest that you've been pulling up, and you pull it up and it rips up a little root that doesn't break right away, but it cuts through the dirt a little bit and points off in a direction further south. And then you give it a little yank, and that gray root comes not loose, but it kind of snaps off near your hand. And you even curiously give that root a pull, and it seems that root cuts up through the ground. You like pull it up almost like you're pulling a cable up from the ground, you know what I mean? It's not so strong, but as you pull, if you pull a little too hard, that little bit breaks off, but it's strong enough that you can keep pulling it up kind of like a wire. But it's not too long before you have your sack filled up. The heat is starting to wear on you, and you go to tug the rope. Carl near the top shouts to Slippy that we're about to begin moving, and Slippy hears begin moving and moves the ship up a bit. This yanks BBW up by your chassis, and Carl, you're like holding on to the rope, and you have it like you don't notice it's wrapped around you a little bit, and when that yanks BBW, it causes you to flip out, and you are dangling now below the mouth of this cargo bay. One of your tentacles is wrapped in the rope, and I think you're holding on around that area
The
as
other
well.
7 are hanging on to the ledge.
I'd say that you've probably dropped a little bit lower than that ledge. It's not as easy as just reaching up, but
Help!
Cookie. Actually, let's see what Cookie does, because that was sort of a response to your failure. Cookie,
Yeah.
I think that where's your kitchen on the ship? Is it near this cargo bay? Is it in the cargo bay?
I assume that the kitchen and the cargo bay are on the same level, and that level is not the same level as like the command center or whatever. The
Yeah, I like
bridge.
that.
So yeah, I would guess like down a short hallway from the cargo bay is my little room. It's got cooking stuff. It's got ingredient storage stuff.
As you're setting up, you hear the human workers that you have brought into the cargo bay. They have begun shouting for help. He's fallen! He's fallen! He needs help!
Oh, well, coming. Yeah. Let's go see what's up. Yeah.
As you enter the cargo bay, you see the ropes tied off nicely. Like, this rope is not coming untied, but you peer down and you see Carl tangled kind of in the rope and dangling, and you see BBW just like floating by his chassis at the end of the rope, and the ship has begun to pull up a bit.
Carl's dangling by the rope. Where's the other end of the rope? Because you've got rope, Carl, BBW. Yes.
Yeah.
Where's the other end of the rope attached?
Tied off in the ship.
Is it
safely
attached to a winch, or are they just kind of dangling? Like, can I crank a thing and pull them up, or am I have to use my
Probably, like,
big,
tied to a
big beefy
hydraulic.
arms?
It's probably
what
just
is it?
tied onto like the hydraulics or something. So I doubt it's something that you could activate.
No winch.
All right, beefy arms it is.
Do you want to look in the bag and see if there's a winch?
No,
Defy danger strength.
high danger.
Yes, because there's nothing other roll that would be this. Like an aid would grant +1 to a roll that was like previously failed. Like you're not
Huh.
aiding.
I don't know. How am I exposing myself to danger?
Because you're
We'll
leaning
find out
over
because I
ship.
rolled a 5.
You have to lean out to grab this rope and begin yanking it up. Mark experience.
Yep.
Row raggy.
Our whole team's gonna fall into a magma pit.
You
Defy danger.
reach down and pull this
Do
rope,
not.
trying to pull your team back up. You get it up a little bit, and Carl, you're reaching up, and the ship begins to like pull up much faster. Slippy has begun to prepare to move you guys up, and this jolt causes Cookie to fall from the edge. Carl, two of your tentacles wrap around Cookie's leg and catch Cookie as Cookie falls. And now your tentacles are holding onto the rope and Cookie, and then the bottom of the rope is BBW. Slippy, one of the human factory workers comes and is banging on the
Help!
door. And
He's
"Help,
fallen!
help." There's
Again!
your crew is just jumping out of the back of the ship, but we don't know what's going on. They're all dangling from a rope.
Ideal. I'm at
You
1
didn't try
HP
to pull
now.
him up?
Every time that another person is trying to pull them up, they have fallen out of the bay.
How many times has that happened so far?
Twice.
Oh
I think
God!
we're gonna be a third time.
Slippy,
I only have 2 nickels, but it's still weird.
Slippy goes, well, here I go. And I guess I put the ship to hover, and I go down to the cargo bay,
You
and
see this nightmare as you get into the cargo bay.
I'm gonna get
I wave with one of my free tentacles. Please help.
I'm gonna get a. I can't just pull it up. It just won't work. It's just not a thing I can do. So let me see. What can I do here?
Get help from the able-bodied scientists.
I'm gonna say, all right, gang, pointing
Cut
at
the
everyone.
rope.
Pointing at everybody.
Wait a minute.
You're gonna be my new crew. No.
We cut the rope. We have a new crew.
Slippy is just gonna go. He's gonna get everyone with arms and legs who can move them to pull up on this rope together. My defy danger was what kind of test is it? Strength
Yeah.
9.
You and the crew all come forward to begin pulling on this rope, and it's a little bit tug of worry, right? You pull them up a couple inches, and then the weight just like causes you guys to pull forward and then pull up a couple inches, and you're starting to make progress. You guys, you feel the all of the able-bodied folks tug of warring this rope back up. You feel some progress start to be made, and Carl, you notice that you're getting a little closer to this ledge that maybe some of your tentacles can transfer. And Slippy, your stomach drops. You feel certain that you've set the ship to float, but you feel it start to lilt. And your hard choice, or bargain, rather, is you can stay here and help continuing pulling your folks to safety, or you can rush back to the pilot seat and ready the ship.
Well, I mean, if it's starting to turn in the way that more people would fall out, I'm gonna have to go. You know, I know that at least the rope is tied, kind of. So I'm gonna yell, "Hold on tight!" and I'm gonna run up to the cockpit.
The cockpit. You let go of the rope.
Can do.
We'll say that Carl had just started to reach for that ledge, and it causes you folks to drop down about 6 inches to a foot. Carl, you feel your grip loosening on Cookie's leg because of that like drop and jolt. What do you do?
I want to ask Cookie for one of their other legs so that I can wrap one of my other tentacles around it.
Get a
Because
better
otherwise,
grip.
I'm gonna drop your ass.
Get a better grip on Cookie. Yeah.
Hold my hand.
I think that's relatively easy. Cookie just is able to straighten the legs, and your tentacles wrap around, securing your grip. You feel that Cookie is no longer slipping. BBW, unfortunately, I think that you're just sort of dangling. Slippy, you make it back into the cockpit as the ship starts to lilt a little bit more, and you pull it up. With that, I think what happens is now that you're back in the seat and you know the problem, you've righted this, and the rope is being slowly pulled back in, but it's slow going, and the humans, when you left them, weren't looking too great. What do you do?
Am I double super sure that I've put it where I want it now?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think that can write the thing. You get back in, you write the ship, you set the setting, you look at it for a second.
You
You
tape
really-
it down.
You
I
tape
really
it
look
down.
at it.
You feel
Yeah,
the
for
ship
sure.
steady. You leave the room and peek back in, and then you run back. And I think that you're able to help this human crew slowly pull Carl and Cookie and
Thank goodness.
eventually BBW back up and into the ship.
I can't
and
survive another party wipe, guys. I can't do it.
BBW has a sack of these black flowers now, and Cookie's distillation is prepped.
Right, well, I guess I start distilling. Hours?
But you've already succeeded on this thing. You will succeed on distilling this thing if you put in the hours to do this thing. Do you folks do anything during these hours that Cookie is distilling the sulfur flower?
I'm gonna take another look at the robot guy and see if I can fix him. I
Okay.
guess probably discern realities to see what the problem is.
Yeah, I like discern realities.
7.
Ask one question.
My question is, well, here's not what it appears to be.
Here's not what it appears to be.
Does it just look like a standard injury, but actually it's something else? How can I boot him up?
Yeah. So this robot looks overall damaged. It like looks beat up. Obviously, it's missing a leg and an arm, but having, living in space, you've seen robots without arms. You've seen an arm maybe removed from a robot before. It's not like life-ending for a robot. You just get it reattached. Generally, there's not even pain sensors, so they're fine, at least pain-wise. But you notice you're digging around. What is not what it appears to be is that there is a tube, we'll call it a coolant tube. I don't know, man. It runs up the spine of the robot, and it is severed near the robot's head. And not fully severed, but it has leaked out most of the coolant running through this robot.
Robots got like universal coolant. Like, are they like 5W30 or?
Yeah, I think with a little bit of you ask BBW, you guys look at it together, and I think that there's a basic universal coolant for most generalized, humanoid medium-sized robots. I'll
Well,
say.
then I know what I'm
I
gonna
don't-
do when it comes back around to me, everybody. But please.
Yeah, I mean, Slippy gets to repairing that. Carl, BBW, we'll start with Carl. Do you do anything? Do you want to do anything during this few hours that it will take Cookie to distill?
Yeah, does our ship have a fucking med bay? I'd like to put some ointment on my burns.
I'd like
Not a
to
medic.
repair myself, and yeah,
Yeah, I think the two of
I'm at
you,
1 HP.
the two of ooh, that heat almost just wiped BBW when he landed. The two of you hobble each other over to. You folks have a smaller space. It has one bed in it, and it has a big medical cabinet with like, I don't know, like 16 compartments that have various stuff in them. The two of you work on treating your burns and your wounds. So you two, for those hours, rest in the med bay and store 4 health points each to each other by, maybe Carl helps repair BBW's chassis damage, and BBW applies the ointments to Carl's.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, guys. If I was in either of your guys' position over this last encounter, Slippy would have been super dead.
Mm.
I definitely can't take that much damage.
Can I? Nah, I'm not gonna bother with it. I was going to try to spout lore while we're just info dump on some fucking topic while we're recovering together, because if I happen to roll a 10 plus, I can heal 2 hit points because of my alien blood. And that would put me back at 10.
Do you
what can Carl just fucking info dump on BBW about?
do you know, I mean, do you want to dig through your knowledge, see maybe you know anything about
Not at the moment.
magma
That's why I
worms or
said
worms?
Please
Okay.
teach BBW the ways of everything.
probably not.
All right, okay.
What?
Please teach BBW the way of everything.
You could talk to BBW about your ceremonial dancing.
That's true. Carl could definitely info dump about his training and being a cheerleader and their mascot, which was the seahorses, which Carl still doesn't know are real. It's a mythical creature.
Let's
this
see.
planet.
Give me your spout lore roll, and
That's a 5 minus 1.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think you
guess.
say the words that you just said to me. He asks. He says, "Teach me
I was
about
like
everything."
a cheerleader, and we spin sticks. I think it would probably be a pretty good attack. Our mascots are the seahorses, which is my favorite imaginary creature.
Yeah, I think you're too lost in thought about like what you want to talk to BBW about, that like when he asks you to talk to him about anything, you just can't come up with anything coherent that you wanted to talk to him about. So you mark 1 experience because that's good. That was a failure. But I think after there's like an awkward exchange through that, and there is a little bit of more of an awkward silence for the rest of this healing portion.
I appreciate you telling me about that.
I can't actually give a thumbs up because I'm an octopus, but I still try.
You could ball one of
tried
your
to
tentacles
understand.
around the
The
other
The
one.
tentacle goes like forward and then like kind of doubles back on itself to form kind of the fist, and then like bloop.
Slippy.
Yeah.
You
so,
have this robot in
you
front of
said
you?
it was a universal coolant, very common coolant that most robots use.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna reach in my bag of tricks, and it's the last thing, but I do have just a little bottle of robot coolant, and
Oh, you
so
have,
I'm
like,
gonna
extra?
try and I'm gonna try and patch it up with supplies around the ship, and then I'm gonna fill them up
Some
with
tape,
the
and you
little tester bottle.
fill up the robot with a tester bottle. I think that is just enough to get this robot to come online, and you see the lights click on, and you hear a few beeps and boops, and the robot says, where do we find ourselves?
Hey, you have a message on your ship.
Uh,
Miss call.
uh,
Just wanted to let you know.
okay. Would you like me to check that now? Is that
No,
what are you
you
looking
can't.
for here?
Your ship's over. You nope. So, how you doing? Things didn't seem to go very well, huh? Did it?
No, certainly
Just
not.
hoping you can get extra info on what's going on here.
Gone. He says, "Oh, are we in a ship? Are we
Yep.
in our ship?
No,
No. Okay.
correct.
Yes, the mission did go very poorly. Did you and he looks around, he says, you saved the rest of the workers. Were you able to pull in any of the magma barrels with yourself?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're working on that right now. We're gonna make sure the worm stays away so that we can retrieve as many magma barrels as we need to.
And you see the robot tense down a little bit. It says, "You can call me Bentley. It's B3NTL3."
Okay, Ben, 3T Bentley. Yep, got it.
Good. The station needs this magma.
I know. Everyone keeps saying that. I know.
It's pretty necessary. The station needs this magma, he says.
Yeah,
again.
I know, because 40% of it is used up by the part that we can't go to. I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me something I don't know,
okay,
robot.
I just woke up. I'm sorry.
You know what? Fair enough. Good morning.
Good morning. And time progresses. About 8 hours later, since we just have like loose leeway with it, we'll say like 8 hours. Cookie, you have a bottle in your hand. You have, I'll say, like a gallon from the flowers that you were able to obtain of this black, pretty water-like liquid, pretty opaque.
Trying to get those barrels.
I just want to make sure that I don't explain so far beyond whatever the thing is you wanted to do.
I think I want to defer to the locals as far as like what you do with it. Because I can just make it. Now I have concentrated monster repellent. And whatever it is that you, the locals, want to do with it to repel this monster, that's on you as the people who have to live here.
Well, also specifically in the moment now, would we need the barrels?
Do we need the barrels, or are the barrels just something
Yes!
we're trying to take home?
Oh boy, do we need the barrels, because the barrels power the 40% of the station that we can't access.
Okay,
So we
well,
very deeply need the barrels.
We don't need them right now.
Bentley-
We just need to bring them home with us.
Bentley nods,
Okay.
Right, Bentley?
nodding furiously.
Like we could make little like bird baths or something that you put the oil in. We could do like a little trough aqueduct fence that you put the oil in, and then you just have like a stink line.
She says, maybe a diffuser?
Sure. That sounds like a great idea. Do you guys have one of those?
Before we took off, the station hadn't fully sank into the magma, and the portion above, maybe we could repurpose the sort of air horn into a diffuser horn. We already have to refill it with air. Maybe we refill it with an aerosolized.
If I want to know whether or not Cookie Grubbins, the ant alien, understands how a diffuser functions, would that be a spout lore roll? Okay.
Yeah, probably.
That's intelligence?
Yeah.
Of which I have very little.
Yes, diffuser lore.
Yeah, more experience.
Cookie's gonna be so
That's a
high
fucking
level.
That's a 4. This is why I should be a dungeon master and not a player in a game where having terrible rolls gets you experience. I'll max my character so fast. This is not where you want me.
You don't know how to do that.
Nope, sure don't.
But you have this. And I think that you might know the process to aerosolize this. But you don't know the tech process to turn an air horn into a diffuser.
You know, actually, this is not a time for Cookie. I'm gonna take the bottle I've got the bottle in one hand. I'm gonna put the other hand over the shoulders of this girl, who is apparently the leader of these refugees. These 3 refugees, one of which is a small girl who's been telling us all the info. Yes? Yes. Good. I'll put my arm around her shoulder. I'm gonna say, "You listen here, Judy. I've taken you as far as I can in this journey of ours, and I'm going to the last thing I can do for you," and I put the bottle in her hands, "is I can show you who it is that can lead you into the next portion of whatever it is that we have to do here." And as I'm saying this, I guide her over, and we stop right in front of BBW, and I say, "Party robot, do you have any tanks for liquid?
I have one singular
Can
tank.
you blow bubbles? Can you?
He's a dispenser, like a keg dispenser,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Can you blow
I mean,
balloons?
I can blow balloons right through my fingers.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think you have 2 tanks, or at least 2
There's
slots.
like
One that is filled with air, and the
one with
other that
air,
can be
other
filled with
with
liquid.
I think there's a way for BBW to make. He can both dispense this liquid, which I'm not sure until we have like a good container for it, like a diffuser or something. I don't know if dispensing the liquid will be useful, but if we can get the liquid into the balloons somehow, then we have balloons that will pop as soon as they get anywhere near the magma monster,
That's
full of
true.
monster repellent. Uh,
That
Popping
would
so
make
balloons is a great part
playing
of the
out in a
party.
blind rage, probably.
yeah,
This
we
is
can
something
use
very
a
down
balloon
for.
offensive, uh, in order to win the day here, maybe. But the less I roll, the better this plan will go. It seems so. I'm gonna passing the torch off to BBW here.
If the DM won't force me to make rolls, then I'm safe from now on. BBW,
I can't ruin my own plan if I'm not part of it.
you've been given a rundown on this, right? You have the knowledge of how to get it to this, but they have a station thing that is an air horn that they want to get tech changed into a sort of air blaster. Basically, you need to figure out how to fill out these tanks with something different and blast it out in a wider area. It also could help with, while you folks are moving about, thinking about if BBW's air blaster might be useful if you get a small amount in his tanks too.
Yeah, we've got a gallon. It's plenty.
If I per se like put myself connected like parts of BBW's body onto like let's say the horn thing, I could use the tank that's inside BBW but dispenses air to put air through the horn.
I
Just in
like that.
theory.
I like
But then
that.
the liquid may have to come from somewhere else though.
Yeah, it may have to be transferred from the liquid first. But think about what about afterwards? You might be able to pump that once, but then they'll need to disconnect you to leave.
Oh, no party is
Unless
complete
you want to
without
nobly
Grubbins'
sacrifice
final
yourself
performance.
on mission 2.
Yeah, if
It's not gonna be his first time being sacrificed.
you figure out if you have the knowledge, because you have this tech inside of you, this sort of air dispensing tech. If you figure out if you have the knowledge to do this work on this machine, then maybe your team can get you in there and you can do this work.
Let's see. I'm just looking at the rules to see if there's anything I can do here.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe I'm looking at bolster. I don't know how long it would take to prepare the whole thing we're doing.
let's see, what is bolster? You guys aren't in direct combat. When you spend your time in study, meditation, or hard practice, you gain preparation if you prepare for a week or 2. Take 1 preparation if you prepare for more. Get +1 to any roll. You can only spend 1 preparation per roll. So that's more like in your downtime. That's like prepping to do super well on your next journey. Like if you folks learn about your mission beforehand, right before taking off, you could spend a week before to bolster and like be so prepared on this journey. And that's like in D&D when you have inspiration dice. You know how you just add advantage whenever you want it for the use of that? That's kind of like that, except you get +1 in this case. Spout lore might work for this. You could get the knowledge for the situation. This would tell you, I think, if you have the knowledge for the situation. I'm not sure.
I'll go for it.
Yeah, I think that's a decent one. So roll plus intelligence.
You got it. That's a 9.
9. I think with the way that I'm gonna have to describe how to fix a piece of tech that I couldn't possibly understand without learning about it first. I think that BBW, you think you're right. You think about that and how that you could apply yourself into this sort of equation to get this to work sort of manually off of BBW. And you think that if given enough time in here, that you could probably figure out a solution. Based on the tech in you, you think you might be able to figure something out if given enough time in this room, which might require some more distractions from your allies.
I see. Suppose I better get to it then.
I'm really good at the classic distraction, the wacky wavy inflatable arm flailing tube man. I can do it with 8 limbs. You never see those outside a car dealership. They're too powerful.
Dang,
They're
that's
too powerful.
true. They would bring in too many people. You folks had mentioned an idea about filling balloons with this aerosolized stuff. That would give you folks at least some form of weapon to deal with the situation while the robot is doing some repairs. How do you folks go about this situation?
Do we have any canisters we could load it into? Like a can of air, kinda?
I
I mean, you
think
can just
Little
load it into
bug
my
repellent.
air tank, I think, and I can blow them manually.
you probably have some oxygen tanks lying around that you could empty and refill with this stuff.
Just as like a backup in case anyone gets separated from you.
Let's get it where we each have one monster repelling thing, and then probably we split into 2 groups. One group to be the distraction, and one person to cut BBW down out of it once he's done.
That makes sense.
Called it.
Called it. The distraction?
Nope, I'm gonna cut him down.
Cut him down from what?
The horn once he goes up there to be the horn.
Oh no, yeah, you guys have to lower down onto the like lower portion of this station to like access the horn. It's like in the station. You need to do work on the bottom of the horn to get it to produce from the top of the horn.
Then let's go get horning.
Yeah. Cookie, you have this liquid, and they want it aerosolized. I think you could apply one of your. There's probably not anything on the cheat sheet that would be a roll to make, but there might like I don't know if forage would be the one.
I mean, would my knowledge of how to do this just be wrapped up in the test kitchen roll that I made?
We could
Like, I made a cook roll for that. Would that come with the knowledge of how to do this?
Yeah. This is getting it to the completed stage.
Okay, cool. Well, then I make like a rudimentary double boiler, I guess, would be how I'd go about that.
I actually was mostly seeing if you wanted to make a roll.
Oh,
If
what
you
kind
don't,
of like what role would that possibly
I was
be?
thinking possibly cook in that moment, but since you said it could be wrapped up in that test kitchen, and I said like yeah, this is the completed stage.
Okay.
So you whip together a double boiler and steam this shit out of I don't know, liquid state. And catch it in steam state.
Yep, I put a lid on it, and then maybe we have some tubing or something. I don't know. We just stick a hose in there. It's not pretty.
You folks end with like an oxygen tank filled to the brim with this aerosolized spray, easily transferable to BBW's tanks or to other tanks if you want, but this tank is filled to the brim. You fly your ship back nearby, and the magma seems as calm as it could be. The worm is nowhere in sight. The station is still. The lower portion of the station, that like lower 2/3 that has been slowly sinking, is stationary and not sinking, but it's pretty low. You get the sense that you might be able to be in there, but if it starts sinking much more, it's going to get dangerous.
Yeah, then we'll probably leave the ship on hover. I really make sure I leave the ship on hover.
Sure.
I'm gonna discern realities to really make sure that I've left the ship on hover. I rolled a 6, so I don't actually know.
Well, you can.
The second you set foot off this ship, it's like OCD. Did I leave the stove
Yeah,
on?
you
Did I
can.
leave the ship on?
You mark experience for that as you
I did.
put it into what you think is hover mode. And where is your ship just hovering over this lowered section, or are you guys gonna drop down into it? What is the where is the ship left to hover?
We put.
I mean, if you set the magma
Like
com down, then we
across.
could probably like drop down on. What do we have? Rope ladders, or just rope?
I still have rope. We still have the same rope that you guys almost
you
died
guys
on.
have a rope.
The aircraft doesn't have like a built-in anything.
Yeah,
We
it
haven't
would
paid
make
for
sense
that.
that it does. Sure, yeah. Like a rope
I
ladder.
don't know if
No,
it
no,
does. I mean, it could.
I think it would make sense that it has some form of like rudimentary rope ladder. You drop down. It probably drops down only about 50 feet. If left at hover height, you'll have to drop a little bit, but not so much that there would be any form of defy danger or anything like that.
Okay.
But easily get back up onable.
Not as easily, no.
That part's not important.
Okay.
Not left in hover. If manned, easily.
As I leave the ship, I say to some of the people from the mining facility, I say, "Hey, anybody familiar with flying ships?"
One of them raises her hand, not the girl. He says, "Yeah, I've been flying ships my whole life. I do it for fun when I'm not working here in the magma plant."
Do you promise?
Why do I not believe this man?
Yes, I do promise. I can show you. He pulls out his wallet and he unfolds, and it's like a bunch of different pictures of him giving a thumbs up in front of a plane. Different planes.
Okay, can you go up in the cockpit and not touch anything unless it seems like it's going wrong?
I love not touching anything unless it seems like it's going wrong.
Thank you for your
Can we
service.
hire this guy?
It might be half of the problems in the plant, to be real.
Do you want to be our 5th member?
He's super useful. Things are always going wrong.
Yeah, my name is Chutch Jr.
Wait, is that your mom?
Automatically aim for the knee.
He sits himself down in the pilot seat and puts his hands up, and he watches the lights. He makes sure that nothing goes wrong. As you folks, do all 4 of you lower down into the facility?
I mean, if anyone was gonna stay, I figured it should be Slippy because pilot. But he just got us a new pilot. So, anybody else want to stay for any reason?
I don't think so.
know. I'm slightly less severely burned. Let's go get this bread.
Let's get this bread. You each have a monster repellent balloon. I just imagine that you could sort of lob that, a little bit, and that it would pop and send out a little bit of spray. You folks lower yourself down this rope and into the lower portion of the facility. There are portions of the floor missing. There are walls that have crumbled in on itself. In those portions of the floor that are missing, you notice that this is only about 5 feet above the floor of magma. So you folks are pretty low in here.
I really hope we don't have to have a balloon fight with the lava monster. The last time I had a balloon fight with the lava monster was when my on-again, girlfriend Carissa and I went to Space Cabo, and I lost that balloon fight horribly.
You folks drop down into this room through a hole in the ceiling. This is a pretty wide, sprawling room. You see a lot of machinery that is toppled over and sort of broken. Some of it's still hanging from its brackets on the ceiling. And what do?
What was our goal coming in here again?
To find the air horn, the self-defense air horn for the factory. You were told that it was at some point a machine built into the wall with a wall crank that produces a loud sound that scares away the monster. This seems like a way better way to scare away the monster, to sort of naturally repulse it from this area. However, you'll just have to find the wall crank and get this item turned into a diffuser rather than an air horn.
Okay, so where are we when we drop in? Are we in a hallway, you said?
You guys you're in like a larger like factory floor style room. Like work tables, there's big machinery hanging from the walls and ceilings over these work tables.
We know we're looking for a crank on a wall, so since there's 4 of us, I vote 2 of us go right, 2 of us go left. We scan the walls, go into extra rooms, and find this thing fast as possible. Watch your steps.
Yep.
Bonus objective. I think there are 2 things we have to do in order to make this happen. I think some of us, whoever feels most like technologically confident, needs to be the ones to find this crank and make sure it's still working. I think another group, or at least me, has to go to the actual horn itself, which I assume is up high somewhere, and turn it into a thing that can diffuse oil.
So I think
That they're doing down at the bottom of the thing.
Well, like
We can make that into a
that's the
two-part
crank
thing.
that like cuts it off, but how?
Oh yeah, because he's pumping it into the bottom of the horn, so we don't need to do anything at the top, right? So
If we want to make that into
No, okay. I mean, if that's how that works, then sure. Then let's split up and look for clues.
So you split up. What are our 2 teams of split?
Slippy and BBW.
Yeah, that works
All
for
right.
me.
Okay. You folks take either side of this room. It's pretty large, and the machinery going down the middle of the room is almost like a separator. You can see each other in between at certain times, but at other times, right, it's just like a wall of machinery. Ka'arl and Ka'uki.
Ka'uki.
You 2 are going down one side of this room, and you start to notice interesting building. It's not building. That's what's interesting, is that there seems to be veins of glowing magma kind of cutting up through one of the holes in the ground and spidering back towards the back of the room. They go up and over a big machine in the back of the room. What do you 2 do?
I suppose we have a closer look then.
Yeah. Inspect closer.
Yeah, let's get in there.
okay.
Do either of us know a lot about like technology? I don't.
But I don't know. I have a -1 to intelligence, so probably not.
Yeah, and I've got a 0.
Does technology spin? I know the ones that spin. I can't remember if that's technology.
Some
You
technologies
shouldn't have been our
handles,
pilot.
That's for sure.
You shouldn't have been our pilot.
As long as you 2 can find it, you can point it out to your team and then do something. But this is seemingly I mean, this is not what you're looking for, veins of lava, but it is intriguing enough that it's drawn your eye. You just walk clean on back and check it out.
If it's fans of lava, that's not our priority.
Fair.
It's not like a
Eyes
natural
focusing
vein
on
of lava.
crank-shaped objects only.
Yeah. It's not like it's not like a split in the earth where lava is flowing. I mean like a human vein, like a fleshy sort of structure is coming up out of these holes, and they're filled with this like molten
color. That's why it was intriguing. It's not just like lava in a lava environment. It's like
That
a
might
structure
be a
that's carrying
plant
lava.
you could cook with. I don't know if it's plant, but that could be cookable, whatever the fuck it is. Just
You
point
think
it
this is
out.
edible?
I'm not sure that it's not a plant.
Plant meat. It looks potentially edible, and it looks like something I've never seen before.
Do you want to go on ahead while I try and forage this, or do we want to pause for a second?
Sure. I'll cautiously venture ahead. I won't go out of like shouting distance.
Okay, then I'm gonna try and forge this. Hey, that's better. That's a 13. On a 10 plus, get both from the list below. So I get a gourmet and 3 staple ingredients.
That's a lot of ingredients. Cookie bends down to attempt to harvest this lava vein. It is the area that Cookie is doing this is close to the hole where these veins are coming out of. And they are coming out of the lava. They're just like almost growing out of the lava and across the floor over a huge machine in the back and then out of sight. Carl, you said that you were just like kind of sort of wandering off a little bit to lightly explore but not out of sight. You take a couple steps up and you get closer to that machine. It seems to get a little hotter back in this area. Like as you approach this machine, this area seems to be radiating heat. BBW and Slippy, you two are on the other side of the room, and it's just so sort of broken and battered over here. How do you two go about searching this area?
I think I'm gonna use my turn to. I've got a bad feeling move, so I'm gonna spend a moment to survey this dangerous area. As an 8, so I get hold 1. I'm gonna ask, is there a trap here? And if so, what activates it?
Slippy, you're scanning around. I think with that question, you're scanning around, and you see a large, thin, almost bookshelf style, like server wall that has been broken and is leaning up against the wall. Underneath of that, you see a large, almost like water tank, like a hot water heater, and connected to that hot water heater is a crank. So it's no trap like towards you, but it is a trap, and the thing that activates the trap is the crank.
Hey, BBW, the thing that we need is underneath that essentially trap. So if you can think of a way to get rid of that before we get to the crank, then we can crank it good. So good luck, because I've used my 6 seconds. Nah.
Oh.
Yeah, so Slippy has pointed out that the crank that you require is underneath this heavy server wall that has toppled over.
I see. Is there any way I can get like around it to tinker with it and disable the trap? Do I see it like immediately, or would I like search through?
Basically, what I meant by trap, in I tried to say it in less words, but it was that the trap is the thing that you're looking for, rather than a trap against your party. It is, it's
just buried.
Yeah, it is just buried under this heavy server wall, but because it was the right question, which was what is a trap and what activates that trap, the thing that you're looking for is quite literally that, basically. So Slippy pointed out the thing you're looking for. And it is trapped under this server wall. But it's just a heavy metal wall, basically.
Oh, so if I try to remove it, that's the thing?
Yeah, if you would like to attempt to bulk it off of there.
Makes sense. I think BBW is just gonna go for it and
Lift with your legs.
shit, where'd it go?
It's hard to parse just a basic movement. I don't know.
In this case, it seems like it might actually be avoid danger.
I was gonna say defy danger, yeah.
Okay, defy danger strength, probably. I would imagine that it's strength, because we're powering through.
Oh, wait. You can use strength to destroy obstacles. I don't know if it's on the cheat sheet, but I know that's a thing you can do, because when I use pure strength to destroy an inanimate obstacle, which is a normal activity, I get to roll it differently. If I roll a 10 plus, I get to make it like not take any time or it's not damaged. So that implies that since I can do it specially, that like you could do it normally, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Roll strength.
I think that
destroy.
That logic applies to me. While it's not on our basic list, I think that you can roll strength to attempt to quote unquote destroy an inanimate object. In this case, it's probably roughly the same range. Like 6 and below is failure, 7 to 9 is problematic success. above that is a success. So roll strength, and we'll do just that.
All right. I don't have any pluses to strength, so I was trying to look for anything else.
Do you have any spells? Any of your spells that could help with
Yeah,
this?
I was looking at that. Yeah, not quite.
Okay.
So I got a 9.
9. BBW, you're able to lift this off. You don't have pain receptors, right? So like when a human or a sentient creature attempts to do something out of the range of its abilities, it begins to feel the pain on the muscles that are like beginning to give out under this weight, right? You don't have that. So you lift, and you succeed, but your lift, you get to a point where it gets off of this situation, and you feel a crack in the bottom of your foot. And so you have a hard choice. You can either force this through and lift it, get it off of there entirely, impossibly, and break your foot, continue that crack through your foot, or you can let it back down. Your foot is cracked, but fine, and you guys can figure out another way.
I can walk on 3 legs.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can get your foot repaired.
Love that. Love that. BBW forces it
Go
through,
for it.
lifting this thing over and setting it upright, revealing the tank beneath. In that process, there's like one point near the end where you have to force just a little bit harder, and you feel your foot like sever at the bottom like quarter, and you drop down a little bit, but then force it back into its place. So BBW, you're damaged a little bit, I think, for dexterity based situations. I think it's shaky is the technical term for it, but you have a -1 to dexterity based. Yeah, shaky.
Oh, you need a hand with that?
To dexterity based things. And Carl and Cookie. Cookie, you're leaning
over.
down
Good.
to cut this. You reach down, you cut this lava vein, and its color drains from it, but it ends up looking like a piece of ginger. You know, when you're done, its color drains from it pretty quickly as you're holding it in your hand. In fact, it drips out of the bottom like little drops of magma, and you avoid your feet getting splashed on. However, when you cut this, that colorlessness travels all the way up the vein. And Carl, as you're peeking around the side of this big machine, you actually see that colorless trail down the machine and into this hot area. You watch that trail, not having a chance to had fully examined the area, and the trail leads right up into a patch of large white eggs. And the colorlessness stops at the edge of this first egg, and the egg shakes and cracks, and out of this egg slithers a smaller, probably like the size of a full-grown like boa constrictor, a purple worm. And it rears back and hisses at you folks, and that is where we will leave it for the moment.
Bum, bum, bum.
In this room with you, you see probably like 10 of these eggs, one of which has just hatched. Right. So first, let us ask end of session questions. Did we learn something new and important about the world?
Eggs grow veins that turn into ginger. That could be important.
We got ginger veins. We got the magma worm. Magma worms lay eggs? Melt stairs. You folks developed, Cookie developed a new pheromone to basically help out this whole industry. So
it's cool, at least.
I'd say at least you developed something new and important about the world. I think everyone can mark 1 experience for that. Did you overcome a notable monster or enemy?
I didn't die to it.
We ran away from notable monsters and enemies.
Yeah, like
it really depends on your definition of overcome. We live to fight another day.
Yeah.
We overcame the threat.
You overcame it. You overcame the instance of the threat. I would say so. I think everyone, because you all had to deal with the notable enemy of the melting stairs and an enemy firing off magma at friggin' Slippy. So Yes, Mark, another experience. That's 2 so far for end of session. Did you loot a memorable treasure? No, I don't think so.
No.
Not for the team. Cookie, that rare ingredient is, we're going to call it magma ginger, because it looks like ginger. You write it down for me, if you don't mind, that I need to give you 3 common ingredients from your forage roll. When I'm editing this, I will hear this and hopefully remind myself that of that, so that when we start in the session at some point before we leave, Cookie will have 3 more common ingredients from a new thing. Okay, now on to bonds. Did anyone develop a bond out that they think can be altered or satisfied?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Not really.
Nope and no. All right, so 2 experience from our end of session questions for everyone, and we will pick back up at the hatching of the magma worm and the fixing of the air horn next week.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
See you then.
All right.
Later,
See you
friends.
folks next week.